everybody. I interviewed my dad on his life in Tehran, Iran. He lived there from 1973 to 1978, and this is a picture of it. On a typical school day, he would wake up and have breakfast with his whole family. Um, and then they would usually take the bus, and it was like a public type of bus. It wasn't like a school bus like we have. It would be like an hour drive, so it was a long drive. For fun, he learned how to ski there. If you didn't see, there were a lot of mountains in that picture. And he had a dirt bike, and he was allowed to use that on roads, so that was fun for him. That was one of his favorite activities. He also had a regular bike, and he lived in an apartment, so there were these kids that lived with him, like in the same apartment building, and they would steal parts from his bike and put them on their bikes, and their dad actually had like 6 wives, and they all lived in different countries. There were a few in Iran, but that's interesting. My dad also had a pellet gun, and all the police, they would actually play with it, and they thought it was a fun thing to do. So, right after my dad left Iran, Ayatollah Khomeini took over for the Shah, and society had been kind of westernized. They dressed like we did, and after this, everything changed. Like you see them today, that's how it is. So, for clothing, my dad would go back to the United States every 2 years, and he would buy a ton of clothing. They'd spend like $1,000 on clothing for him, his 2 sisters, and my grandparents, and they would pack that all in boxes, and they'd be at the airport with like 20 full boxes of clothes for another 2 years. They really enjoyed the food there. I actually have some pictures of the food. This is something called chela kebab. This was my dad's favorite. It was a cracked egg on rice. I know it's not really appetizing to me, but. And this was Barbary bread. This was another one of his favorites. My dad knew a kid who lived near him, and he actually got in trouble for doing drugs there, and because of this he went to an Iranian prison. In this prison he got treated really badly, and afterwards his dad went from school to school telling everybody not to do drugs because it was a really bad idea. Also, there were a few American channels on the TVs there, and my dad's favorite was $6 Million Man. I don't know if you've heard of that, but it was a really popular TV show in the 70s for everybody. And his sisters liked Little House on the Prairie. I also have a picture of the school that he went to, and of Ayatollah Khomeini.